Hi, this is Elsa P. back with part 4 of my series on the Saturn return. You can catch up by clicking the link below. Today's story is classic. It is a classic Saturn return story. I see this happen all the time. It's also a classic story as far as astrology goes. The astrology in this is brilliant. I'll try to point it out as I go. So anyway, I met this gal when I was about 30. I had just started reading charts professionally, and I was sitting in a bar with my ephemeris, which is the astrology Bible, you know, with all the planets listed. So if you know my chart, I have Neptune in the midheaven, and you know, I'm doing my career in a bar, whatever. What happened is this gal came in the bar, just whoosh, she's just a streak. She was pure Sagittarian energy, just moving, and her hair, you know, like this. And she came and she landed right next to, sat down right next to me. And she ordered the beer, and she ordered a shot. You know, I was drinking orange juice and soda. And she ordered another shot. She starts telling the story about how she's stuck in Denver. She actually lived in Aspen, which is code for you got a couple of bucks to live in Aspen. But she's stuck in Denver because the assholes at the airport, you know how SADS travels, known for this, would not let her on the plane. They wouldn't let her on the plane because she was late. Okay, so this is before national security and any of that. Sagittarius is known to show up, you know, cutting it close at airports. You know, this is just because they travel all the time. So she just couldn't believe, there's a sense of entitlement, see, and she just couldn't believe they wouldn't let her on the plane, and she described her obnoxious behavior. She was banging on the airway door, you know, you son of a bitches let me in, she's going to have everybody's job, she's going to, you know, because they won't open up the store for her, and they would not open up the door. So as an astrologer, you can see it's a little bit amusing because she's grand bam right into Saturn. Obviously, the door is shut. So here she comes in the bar, and who's she sitting next to? Me, you know. So I'm very amused, though I didn't say anything. I liked her, and I ended up chatting with her for about, you know, for some time, and she told her story. She, you know, basically. She was a trust fund baby, and she was married to another trust fund baby. So there's like two older, rich, young, you know, young couple, and they just they didn't know what to do, I guess, because they just had a lot of money, so they didn't really have to do anything, and consequently, they didn't know what to do, whether they should be married or not. You know, they both drank. You know, she just started, you know, spilling her guts the way people will do to me. And long story short, she ended up telling me she's going to call me for a consultation. Well, I never thought that she would. Because she lived in Aspen, but you know, she did call me a couple weeks later, and she booked a consultation with me like out like a month and a half in advance. I thought there's no way she's going to show up for this. You know, I didn't think so. She had to drive 7 hours to get there, but she did. She showed up, and I was just stunned. I mean, she showed up on time. She was early, you know, and I just started to, you know, get the plot. So it was her Saturn return coming in, and I found myself telling her to grow up. You know, telling her this. And she sat real quiet. She was Sagittarius and Virgo, as I remember. And she just sat, you know, through the whole thing. And like maybe she's going to cry, you know. And she thanked me. She was polite. And she left. And I just felt bad. You know, you go through this, you know, so I was new to this kind of work. And so I thought, well, that went terrible. Well, that's not what happened. What she called me like 8 months or, you know, like a year later to thank me. And she told me that she had completely changed everything. She was going to school. She was going to be a doctor. And she was going to go to this country. I don't remember which one, but you see the Sagittarian travel. She was going to go to this country, and she was going to practice medicine there. And her husband, she had told him, you know, basically to clutch it up. And if he didn't, you know, by the time that she's going to leave him, she had a plan, you know, because she wasn't going to live she was no longer going to live the way that they were living, you know, irresponsibly, and just be a punk. You know, she wasn't going to be a punk anymore. So this happens all the time. And I always say, you know, you don't count these people out. I don't care, you know, if they're 28 years old and they're absolutely an obnoxious jerk, do not count them out. Okay, 30 and you're an obnoxious jerk, count them out. This is Elsa P. at elsaelsa.com. See ya.